All content is brought to you by our Patreon subscribers. For $3 a month, you can help keep the lights on at From North to Wharf. We appreciate all of your ongoing support. For all your North to Wharf merchandise, head on over to our shop at fromnorthtowharf.threadless.com.
Does Hestia know you?
Oh yeah, clearly, we're on a wrong name basis.
And now we're here, and there aren't any monkeys being friends with lions!
Okay, no one said for sure there'd be monkeys, honey.
I'm not gonna arrest the moose.
He's a good boy! He's a good boy!
Being your muse no longer amuses me. That's pretty good, you can use that. But that's it. I'm done with your show.
From the Great North to Wonder Wharf. All right.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of From the Great North to Wonder Wharf, your unofficial one-stop destination for bento box information. As always, I'm Mike.
And I'm JB.
And welcome to a very special one-off mini episode. We're doing this because a brand new episode of The Great North just came out yesterday. And instead of waiting a whole week to discuss 3 new episodes, now we're going to have this mini one. So this episode can have its own time in the sun and flourish and get all our attention. So that's what we're doing today.
That's a good idea, too. I mean, we're buddies with the writer, Jay Caston. So congrats, Jay, on writing your first episode and getting it aired.
Buddy is a strong term, but yes.
I know. But he was cool enough. He's a One Piece fan, too. So we got
we won't hold that against him, though.
No.
But yes, like I said, this was Jay's first episode that he's written. I believe he has another one coming next season.
Yep.
I think it's a D&D based one.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. But this one was part of last season. And funny story, you got to see this episode last year. Tell us about that.
So as I'm watching the episode, having some very, very big like deja vu moments. I'm like, this seems very familiar, like the sun stuff, and like they're talking about like it's 2 a.m. She's talking to Alanis about like mother-daughter maternity stuff, and I was like, I feel like I've seen this before. Maybe this mother-daughter thing's repeating. And then the cabbage showed up, and I was like, oh no, I know this episode. And as Mike said, like they showed it last year at Comic-Con, not this year that we were just at, but the year prior to that. And it was one of the 2 episodes they showed. So I like that.
Have we seen the other episode?
I have not seen that one. So I think that might be the other one.
Oh, okay. I know next week's is a double episode where one episode is Judy driving, and then the other one, for the life of me, I don't have it in front of me, but maybe.
Maybe, or they're saving that one for that last one before their break.
Can you give us any hint as to the episode in the vaguest of terms?
I remember laughing at both episodes a lot.
Who was the episodes you haven't seen? Who was it based on? Is it more of a Judy episode? Is it more of a ham, beef, wolf?
I do think it was more of a ham-based episode, if I can remember right. It's hard to remember because we just watched the 2 that they showed at this panel. So it's hard for me to remember the older.
This one that they showed this year was real funny. So I can't wait for folks to see that. So, all right, well, let's get right into it. Excessive Cabbage Adventure, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Written by
is part of season 4, guys. So don't be confused.
Still on season 4 at the moment. I believe they have 3 episodes that they're showing before they go on another extended break until they come back in, fingers crossed, January. Much like Bob's is showing, I believe, 3 episodes until they come back on the 29th of this month. And I don't know about you, but the break between when we last saw a new episode and to now has gone very fast. I don't know if that's just because we're older and time's just going. But
I do wonder if the Animation Domination block having a bunch of shows is part of this, where they're just trying to really figure out like where everything fits. Because I mean, we have Bob, Simpsons, Family Guy, Great North, Crapopolis, Universal Basic Guys is being added this year. There's a lot of shows, and I think they're just trying to figure out where does everybody fit. And I think it's hard to figure out where everyone fits. So I think they're kind of like we need to do these weird staggerings to make it all work.
hmm
Plus
Um,
football.
football starts next. Football starts next Sunday. I'm excited. Apologies, everybody. I'm in my bedroom, and these lights are a little blinding, so I gotta find a way to diffuse those a little better. But I think for us, we're in a unique position to where the season ends, let's say in May, June, something like that.
Mhm.
And then from there, we don't really fall out of the Bob's world because you and I, we have Comic-Con, we have WonderCon, we have Toddland, we have all that stuff keeping us entrenched in that
All
world.
that stuff is like right after the other.
Yeah, and
We
not to
really don't
mention,
stop until end of July,
and
and then
like
for that
once,
point, it's like 1 month, and
yeah,
then we're
because and even then, we're kind of just living off the Comic-Con high. So by the time we're done and settled, we're right back into it with the new season. And not to mention, like obviously we have friends who work on the show, so we're keeping up with them as well. And so we don't really get a Bob's break. I mean, the longest break we've taken since doing the show has been the last 2 weeks, and even
Yeah.
then, putting out content. So yeah, I know. I gotta assume for the everyday fan, the wait seems like it's been forever, but for us, it's been maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So, but I'm excited to see new episodes, so I'm ready for that.
Mhm.
And we're being spoiled because we have the leftovers from season 4 to lead into
Exactly.
it. So, can't really be mad.
I'm very excited to see what they do, and I know this premiere is going to be probably great, so you all will enjoy it.
I'm sure. Ugh, excuse me. But season 4, episode 16, I believe. Excessive Cabbage Adventure, of course, written by our best friend. Don't ask him about it. Just take our word for it, Jay Caston. Ending credits done by Scott and James.
Scott and John, yeah.
John, James. John. In fact, I was just I texted, not texted, but I shot Scott a message like, "Hey, great outro, man! It was amazing." And then we got on to talking about drums, and he gave me some pointers. So I'm gonna try to incorporate those into.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be real fun.
I mean, he's been super, super busy with the Tenacious D stuff and touring and all that. So
Yeah, just in general, that guy's it's either Tenacious D or Great North, or that guy's busy, but super nice. But yes, this is the longest day, longest night, or longest day. Longest day in Alaska.
Hard to know. She says like 2 a.m. the sun's out. It's that time in Alaska where there is those there's the 30 Days of Nights, which if you watch that movie, it's more darkness based. But there are times like if you've ever watched Insomnia, the movie, where Alaska goes through a whole period of time where there's just a lot of sunlight and like 1 hour of darkness. And this is during that all day kind of thing where it's just
I think this particular one is the all day one, hence why we see nothing but daytime.
Yeah.
It's also weird because I think this is the first time we've seen lone moose in the summer, B, no snow, which is weird. And I did a little digging. In the summer, Alaska gets 50 to 77 degrees.
Yep.
Which I guess for them is tank tops and shorts weather. I don't know for me, but
yeah, I think the closest we saw was when Judy and Honeybee had the pool and the slip and slide. I think that was the closest we've gotten to like summer.
Yeah, you're right.
We see snow, at least in some regards, but it's been very scarce this time.
Did you catch a Sasquatch this episode?
I didn't see it this one.
Okay,
I know they're in there. I know they're in there because they guaranteed us there's one in every episode. It's just you got to find it. So, but sometimes they're just running, so you don't even see them.
Yeah, so, I'm gonna be
on the hunt.
I have to go back and watch it. I watched it a couple times, but I didn't catch them, so that it's not as apparent as it was before.
Some of them they're just like digging in the trash, and you're like, oh, there he is. He's right there, or he's like, oh, and like puts his head back from the building. But
that was in the episode that we saw at Comic-Con. That one was very blatant.
Yeah, that was obvious.
Like, he stuck his head out for like 2 seconds, and then it was like, oh, never mind.
I'm like, oh. But no, like I liked the one episode at the end of this season that they showed all of them. I think it was season 3. They did like the last episode where they showed where all of them were. Some of them were just so fast.
Yeah. And I remember some like hidden behind windows or in the very, very background. Some were very blatant though. So I'm hoping they bring that back for season 5.
Mm-hmm.
Season 5.
I think they will. I think there's some rules about them, but we'll see.
Hmm. And actually, I'll say that for later. So
I
okay,
got the synopsis if we want to read it real quick.
absolutely, go right ahead.
All right. So Judy investigates a mysterious cloaked figure who keeps buying all of her art, which she's selling at Maud's. Beef, Wolf, Ham, and Moon grow a giant cabbage, trying to win the biggest cabbage for longest day contest. And Honeybee and Jerry compete to see who can keep foam fingers on the longest because they have a history of stupid bets, as Jerry calls it.
Hmm. I just my initial thoughts. I thought the episode was fine until the twist with the cult, and then I was like, "Oh, I'm completely on board now."
Yeah.
Like before, it was just like, "Oh, this is a good episode," and then it got great, and I was like, "Oh,
Yes.
I'm in."
I agree with that. Once the cult reveal is there, it really takes it to a different level because
It's
Judy has
very
no idea what's happening. She's just really, really hyped that like a female figure has shown interest in her creative side. She's like, of course, my dad's was like another fine painting, Judy, but she's like, I really want that mom-daughter connection that she never got with Kathleen, and this woman is giving it to her, but she has ulterior motives.
It's very Heaven's Gatey to me.
Yeah.
For those of you who are old enough to know Heaven's Gate, if not, Google it and get you.
There's some documentaries. You can take the dive if you really want to. You know, don't drink the Kool-Aid, but yeah,
get you a new pair of shoes.
Yeah. Air Force
but
One, I believe, the all whites.
No, they were all blacks. I don't think they were Air Force Ones.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it's one or the other. I know they were, one or the other.
There's never mind. This isn't a Heaven's Gate cult.
No.
I thought the cabbage aspect of it all was wasted. I mean, it's a B story in every sense of the word. This was definitely a Judy episode, and the cabbage aspect seemed like it seemed like there was more to it than what was shown. Like they had like it was more fleshed out perhaps in the original script. And like, no, let's focus more on Judy. So the cabbage part suffered, at least to me.
And that might be something we can always ask Jay about at another time. Probably not on air, but yeah, we can probably ask him about it. Because I was curious. I was expecting there to be, because they do a lot of like references to Little Shop of Horrors, and this cabbage is huge. I was expecting that one of them was going to have like a dream that something bad was going to happen to the cabbage. And then they're out there like sleeping next to the cabbage with like some makeshift weapon, being like, I want to protect the cabbage.
The cabbage seems like it was like it was a proposed A storyline. And then like, I don't know if this is a strong enough A storyline. Let's make it a B plot to this one, because I feel like that could have been an A story in any other episode. Yeah.
I'm transporting. I think the issue is that they were transporting Ham's cake, and if they made a centric episode of transporting this cabbage to the event and all this stuff happened, it'd be too similar. So I wonder if that played a part in it too.
Yeah, I mean, Dream a Little Bob of Bob or whatever and Flouise were essentially the same episode. So I mean,
Fever Dreams, I know.
Fever Dreams. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen a full fleshed out cabbage episode.
Especially Ham. Ham always has weird dreams or weird like thoughts for like, oh, like the fish on the wall is talking to me, the trout on the wall wants me to free it. I'm like expecting this cabbage to also have the same thing, but they did some goofy stuff with it, which I liked.
I feel like we could have I feel like we could have dropped the C story with Honeybee and
I think that could have been its own B plot in a different episode.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was definitely used for joke, and it definitely brought some humor to it, because especially like, oh, they went bowling. Honeybee thinks Jerry's definitely going to take the fingers off, and literally he's just dropping bowling balls on his feet the entire time, and they just do a quick little like segue in and out, but it's a good laugh.
Yeah, and when Jerry was hiding under the couch cushions, I thought that was funny. But yeah, I think this episode didn't suffer, but I would say the B and the C plot kind of pushed each other out. If we lost the foam finger part, then the cabbage part could have shined a little more.
Yeah. And like vice versa too. And I think if anything, it allows that universe now to have that Honeybee and Jerry definitely do stupid things, like very much like stupid bets. So we probably will see that maybe in a newer episode. Maybe Jay will continue that process. And same thing with the cabbage. Now we can see them growing other things for this festival. And maybe it's like every time of year or every season there is an episode based on the all darkness or the all light times.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, maybe you're right. Perhaps the sea storyline was just planting the seeds to then be reestablished in another episode.
Because we know that the why am I blanking on her? Shaws are very into going above and beyond when it comes to things like the Halloween celebration, which really just freaks Jerry out.
Yeah.
But like they go to the extremes. They don't do things like just half. So I think that anything this has planted that seed that there will be more of this stuff. Maybe in April Fool's episode. Bob's did one, it was great. Maybe we'll see one here, and it's just gonna be like who does the best prank, and maybe the Shaws really are just like unbelievably good pranksters.
Now, let me ask you this: as a, I want to make sure I use the right term, psychiatrist, right?
Therapist, but yes,
therapist. Do you think this episode was Judy coming to terms with the anger she feels towards Kathleen?
I think it definitely is an episode that talks about that, and I think it definitely brings it to the. I mean, we've seen other characters talk about it. We had the divorce episode with Wolf and also Moon. Moon definitely was younger, and I think kind of was like, yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But then had that weird episode where they're like, I don't know if that's my dad or not. So I think that was Moon's kind of journey through it. I think we've had Ham's journey kind of through where he's kind of accepted the way it is, and he's just kind of like very. If anything, Ham is kind of the more mellow therapy one where he's just kind of like, here's what it is. Like, I'm here to help people figure this out. And I think Wolf was the one who struggled the most. But I think Judy has some unresolved stuff where she's like, I want that mom-daughter catch. I wanted to play the softball game. I want that connection that my friends have. Because you see her attached to like Kima's mom and like try to be into that. And she tries to find a female dominant person that she can attach to, like Honeybee.
Yeah.
And I don't think she's really found it yet. I think Honeybee is probably the closest she's got.
Yeah, when she was yelling at the cult leader, whose name escapes me at the moment, I was like, this is about a lot more than her trying to kill you right now.
100%. This speech was way more than just about the cult. It was about everything she had been feeling. Because I think Judy was being really vulnerable and was just like, this is so much fun and so cool. And then when that waiter drops it like, oh, like she's a cult leader. You should know that. I think she wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt, probably much like she did her mom.
Yeah.
And that backfired. It was like another instance where that happened to her. And it definitely brought stuff up.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head where Wolf was the one who had the most trouble with everything. Because I think as the oldest, he was trying to play
2 episodes about it.
Yeah. I think he's still trying to play, or up until that point was still trying to play both sides of the fence. It's like, I love my mom, I love my dad. My mom has faults, but she's still my mom, and I want to see the best side of her. And trying to convince everybody else, like, oh no, she's not as bad. But I think everybody's kind of at that point where they realize, you know what, let's just cut the dead weight. We don't hate her, but she's gone.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where everyone's at. Even like Beef has had his moments where he's gone back and forth, especially season 1 where he was like, I can't do this. Once he started dating again, I think it became more of him moving through it quicker. But like Wolf had his like the divorce episode with Moon, but he also had the one where he was weird with Honeybee's mom. It was just like dumping milkshakes on his head. He's like, just make mom laugh, and then mom loves you, and you're like, oh, buddy.
Yeah, that's the only way he could get any kind of approval or attention.
Like, oh, this explains a lot about his character. Like he does this all the time, trying to get reassurance that he's fun.
He's good. He's good. What was your highlight of the episode?
I think my highlight of the episode is that they really were starting to show Judy like that Maude cares, that Maude wanted to be like part of that and understood that a little bit and wanted to help them out. And that's why they're like, that's why we sell your art here. Like, I want to support you in that. And then you also had like Allison, and she's like, she like vouches for you and she posts your art. She loves your stuff. Like, there are people in town like Honeybee and other people that really care about Judy and want to provide that role. It's really, can Judy allow there to be multiple kind of like quote unquote versions of mom around And does it have to be just one? And I think that's something she'll kind of work on. I mean, she even has like Alanis in a way who's working with that too. So
wow, okay, mine was the Beanie Babies. not as
What?
in depth. The Beanie Babies, not as in depth.
that
as
was
yours.
great. That was an amazing bit. Where she's like, she says they're cool, they go.
He opens up his little vest and has
Yeah.
all the Beanie Babies.
We're all here to see the gate. It's like,
Well,
oh my gosh.
yeah, once the cult got involved, I think everything got ratcheted up to a 10, and then it became a great episode for me. When who's the cult leader's name? Do you remember off the top?
Blanking on her name.
Yeah. When she was yelling at Judy, he's like, "We're doing this, this, is this," and you would have known that if you read my blog. And then she told the other cult members to sit on her, to hold her down, almost crashing into, almost essentially Titanicing their boat.
Oh yeah, like so close.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
crazy how close.
I also, in going back to the cabbage bit, like it was played up so big, and then they just immediately dropped it. And I get that they dropped it for Judy. It just seemed like there was more to that story that we didn't get to see, at least in my mind. So.
Yeah, I think that's the part that, I mean, we look for things like that because we can kind of see, just talking to these guys and writers and kind of getting to know them, that like a lot of times their full idea doesn't sometimes always make it out there. I forget what one person called it. It's just like, it might have been even Seth Meyers. Just like, it's like slowly you have to like get rid of some of your little darling jokes and things like that you get attached to, and you're like, oh, but I really like that part. And it's like, well, we'll keep it, but we're gonna like, we gotta dumb it down a little bit. It's too much. It's too dominant.
It's like the Bob's movie. Like the original run was like 2 hours, 4 hours, 10 hours, whatever. And then it got parsed down to an hour 45. So
yeah, like this thick to like, okay, it needs to be more manageable.
Yeah, and it's fun that we can talk about that without being bombarded.
Yeah, and it's really just kind of like, it's cool that existed, yes, but at the same time, there's no way we're gonna get that, and that's not realistic. So like, it made sense that we got the 93-minute movie that we got, and I think it's 93 minutes. I should have checked that before I said it, but
give or take,
it's like maybe like an hour 45, and it's just perfect the way it is. And like, if anything, that's the editing process. I mean, as many of you know, there are director's cuts of movies. Some of them are good, some of them are not, and some of them you're like, there's a reason there's an editor. I see now. Like, there really needed to be a cut here.
Yeah, absolutely. Any parting thoughts on Excess Cabbage Adventure before we go ahead and wrap this bad boy up?
Excellent first episode for Jay. Congrats again. It's nice to see Great North back. I love it. Can't wait for season 5. And from what everything Wendy and Lizzie hinted at Comic-Con, I'm very curious to see how they make that all work and what they meant by what they said. I'm just going to leave it at that. And
I'm excited for folks to see the upgraded animation stylings.
You kind of saw it a little bit. I mean, I think there was definitely some Aaron moments in here. The cult leader like gets really exciting. I was like, woo, and does one of these, and it's like, oh, that looked like Aaron. Totally like his animation, like very loose, very animated, like very lively. And I was like, there's a couple moments in this episode that I felt were him.
I'm trying to find the information on the next episodes.
Let me check if Lone Moose and Back has posted our buddy Sam. Also, Sam,
usually
if you catch this episode, your thing is in the mail.
I'll have to follow up
with those with international mail. It's like we'll see. I'm hoping it gets to you. They checked your address and everything to make sure it was legit and right. So I'm hoping everything works out. Keep your fingers crossed. Maybe like 2 weeks to 3 weeks, they said.
All right, got it right here. Wolf and Honeybee struggle to find cheesecake a local job on the all-new episode of The Great North on Sunday, September 5th. Oh, not September. Shit.
Yeah, that's an old one. They got cheesecake that job.
Yeah,
it's weird whenever you said cheesecake, I'm like, they probably don't have a cheesecake factory. I'm like, oh wait, no, they mean the character cheesecake.
Yeah.
Who is an alcoholic?
Okay, here we go. It's a double episode.
Yeah.
Worst Drivers Club, and Am I the Ice Hole? I thought one of those was okay. Worst Drivers Club. Judy tries to learn to drive. The rest of the family tries to finish a shocking jigsaw puzzle. Look Who's Squawking. Okay, there's the other episode. Look Who's Squawking. When the Eagle Moon is pet sitting is... No, we already saw that one.
Yeah, we did see the eagle one. They might be just showing that.
Oh, okay.
Again.
Am I the Ice Hole? Honeybee and Beef bond on an ice fishing trip and try to find compromise between quiet fishing and fun games. Ham must return to school, Skeleton to campus without being detected. Interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, the eagle one we saw, and that's a good Moon
Yeah.
centric episode with basically just Beef allowing Moon to grow up and be independent.
Yeah. But there you have it, folks. We have a brand new episode of The Great North, the two of them next week, and then they go on a break until January, and then
I think Wendy said January-ish. I guess they're still tweaking it, but yeah, it's around there.
And then Bob's comes out with a brand new episode, one episode for the next 3 weeks, leading up until the season 15 premiere on the 29th.
Yes, everybody remember, these 3 episodes are just finishing out season 14. 15th premiere is the 29th. So when you see that episode, don't be like, oh, this premiere wasn't that great. It's not the premiere. It's just an episode.
Everybody calm down. And then, there's other Bob stuff to discuss, but we'll discuss it on the next episode.
Yeah.
This has been a mini episode of From the Great North to Wonder Wharf, your unofficial one-stop destination for bento box information. As always, I am Mike.
And I'm JD.
And we will see you next Monday for for North Wharf Live. We're back live next Monday.
We're doing it.
See y'all.
See you guys.